Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, or good day, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only James Williams Star Waters, and I'm back to touch upon the news. I want to address something real quickly. If you don't mind, do not skip. I want to share something with you. Don't just be patient. It's going to be quick. So I received an email last night. I just happened to be up too. And it was an email requesting me to go back to storytelling. And I want to teach you guys something real quickly. Some people appreciate this, but some people won't appreciate this, and that's fine. May the wisdom fall upon those who can hear it. You know, the unique thing about storytelling is this. It's extremely easy to tell you a story. But we're not in a season where you need to be distracted. Like, I could tell you a story right now about how one day I was in the movie theater, or one day a person was in the movie theater. They were sitting there enjoying their popcorn as the lights dimmed, as they ran the beginning credits of the movie, and glanced over to the left and saw these red eyes piercing back at them. Initially, they thought, is this a person? I'm hallucinating. I must be seeing something. This cannot be true. And they continue to watch the movie. 5 minutes into the movie, they look over in the same direction, and those same red eyes are there, still glancing at them from the darkness, wondering to themselves, am I the only one seeing this? Looking around at all the rest of the people sitting in the movie theater, they're trying to decide if they are the only one who sees this. And what do you do? What do you think of in a moment like that? How do you feel in a moment like that? What runs through your mind? I'll tell you what runs through your mind is confusion. I was confused as I sat there staring and looking at these red eyes. Am I losing my mind? Storytelling is easy. It's simple. It's one of the things that I've mastered. But you know what? Your whole life is a story. What I cover every day is the same thing. It's story. Except for these are stories woven, expertly crafted, aged like fine wine to get your attention. Narratives that have been playing out for years. Narratives that have been playing out for generations. The longest stories that have ever been told are currently playing out in front of you right now. And people want me to go back to telling them a scary story. Because you want to be distracted. You want me to participate in your destruction by being distracted. Oh my goodness. You want me to use my talents and my gifts and my abilities to let you check out, tune out from the greatest war there is. Tune out from the Battle of Armageddon. Tune out from the most important event in the history of your nation? Is that what you want from me? Well, I'm sorry. You're going to be disappointed. Yeah, you're going to be disappointed if that's what you want. The story in front of us. A mother of autistic woman brutally raped and murdered by illegal alien gangster hit back at nasty Representative Jasmine Crockett. I told you it's all stories, right? What is the story of Jasmine Crockett? I mean, let's just talk about it. What is the story of Jasmine Crockett? A super well-educated black woman, the promise of Black America. The quintessential essence of what should be perceived as Black excellence, went to great schools, reached the highest heights of power. And when she got to the highest heights of power, when she got to the throne of power, she became a nigger. She behaved like a hood rat. You want to hear a story? Let's tell stories. A hood rat who abandoned the people of her district to defend non-citizens. That is the story. Those type of stories are playing out all over America. They're playing out in little bitty towns and districts. They played out in Springfield, Ohio. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. Eat the cats. Eat the cats. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats. These stories are playing out everywhere in front of you. And it's amazing that people want to tune out to the important stories. I get it. I understand. I get it. It's overwhelming, quite frankly. You open the news and it's one thing after the next thing after the next thing. And it's almost never ending. It never, ever stops. And it just doesn't stop. Oh my goodness. I need a break. I need to decompress. I need to watch a football game. I need to watch a baking show. Let me go out and have some drinks with my friends. I need to unwind. I need to decompress. I had a long week at work. My boss is an a-hole. My coworkers are jerks. I need a break. Tough tits. Tough on you. And I say that because these stories that are played out in front of you, these stories that are played out in front of you so you won't be involved, these stories that are played out in front of you so you will be a spectator are the same reason why we're in the condition that we're in right now. Yep, that's why America is where it is right now. Because we're dealing with great storytellers. You know, there was a time period where my storytelling gift was used for some wicked things. It's easy to create narratives against people. It is so easy to create narratives. Hamilton, a 20-year-old autistic female from Maryland who was brutally raped and murdered by a 70-year-old illegal alien with Malva, whatever, MS-13 ties in July 2022, hit back at far-left race-baiting Representative Jasmine Crockett of Dallas, Texas, following a wicked and disgusting comments on the House floor. Crockett voted against the legislation and took one step further by complaining about the name of the bill was just throwing a random dead person's name at something. Wow. So the bill, let me read this. The Gateway Pundit reported on House Judiciary Committee debate and passing of H.R. 4371, the Kayla Hamilton Act. The legislation requires HHS to require unaccompanied alien children criminal records in their county of origin and determine if they have gang tattoos. The bill further mandates that UACs with gang tattoos or criminal history relating to gang activity be placed in a secure facility and bolstered sponsored background check requirements. It also prevents illegal aliens and convicted criminals from sponsoring UACs. Crockett voted against the legislation and took it one step further by complaining that the bill was by complaining that the name of the bill was just throwing a random dead person's name on something. You take a situation and then you exploit it. What has happened not only to that person, but you exploit those families and make it a game, Crockett said during the hearing. Stop just throwing a random dead person's name on something for your own political expediency. Tammy Nobles, Kayla's mother, joined Fox and Friends to call the race-baiting representative out. You just don't call a victim of a crime just a random dead person. Not a victim should be referred to as a random dead person. What she said was really nasty, and it comes across as racist. Now I'm going to find this clip. We're going to play this clip. But do you see the story in this? Since people are requesting now, tell you, do you see the story? I see the story. I see the story. Let's pull out the actual, let's humanize the story. This is why I cover this. Let's just humanize it. It's right here in the first paragraph. A 20-year-old autistic female from Maryland was brutally raped and murdered by a 17-year-old illegal alien MS-13 gang member. What does that look like for an autistic person who barely can speak? What does that look like? If you had to humanize it and visualize it, you had to imagine the fear, imagine the terror, imagine the confusion of an autistic person finding themselves in a situation where they are defenseless against a damn demon. Because that's what that was. Could I tell you that story and make it come alive to where you can visualize it in your head? Should I tell you that story and make it come alive and visualize it in your head? If that's the type of stories y'all want, I will translate these newses into stories where you can see, feel, and taste them. They will come alive. They will jump out of, my words will jump out of your television, jump out of your speakers, grab you by your head and shake you like this. But is that what you prepare for? Those of you who know me as a storyteller, you know what the skill set is. Are you prepared for it? In the comments, if you want it, I'll give that to you. Yeah, I will bring all of this to life. Because these are the stories that matter. I promise you, I will make it a movie for you. I can agree to do that. Anything outside of that, ladies and gentlemen, I have no interest in. Because it's a waste. It's a waste of the God-given talent given unto me.
Democrat Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett sparking outrage for appearing to dismiss the murder of 20-year-old Kayla Hamilton, who was killed at the hands of an illegal immigrant in 2022. The House was debating a Republican-led bill named after Kayla when the Congresswoman made these comments. Listen.
You take a situation and then you exploit what has happened to not only that person, but you exploit those families and you make it a game. Stop just throwing a random dead person's name on something for your own political expediency.
Joining me now is Jeff Gaylor, the sheriff in the Maryland County where Kayla was killed, and Kayla Hamilton's mother, Tammy Nobles. Thank you both so much for joining us. Tammy, what was your reaction when you heard the Congresswoman describe your daughter like this?
I was really furious because you just don't call a victim of a crime just a random dead person. No victim should be referred as a random dead person. Nope. We were there. I mean, they were there discussing her bill, and she and what she said was really nasty, and it came across as racist.
Tammy, what do you remember the most about Kayla from when she was a little girl?
She was a very happy and energetic child. She loved unconditionally, and she just loved to enjoy. She enjoyed her life. She lived each day to the fullest. She loved going to church. She loved God. And she really cared for animals and the homeless. And she was just herself.
She was just herself. Maybe the Congresswoman will hear your memories and your words of your daughter and think twice before so callously dismissing somebody that was a beautiful young girl who turned into a beautiful young woman created in the image of God. Sheriff, should anybody, especially a sitting member of Congress, call somebody who was murdered a victim a random person?
No, of course not, and thank you for allowing me that. It breaks my heart to see Tammy on here talking about Kayla's life. Kayla was important. Her life mattered, and for Congresswoman Crockett to be so dismissive, so insensitive to a crime victim, any crime victim, it just speaks to the character of who we're electing from some jurisdictions around this country. That is Pathetic is the best word I have for it.
It's worth noting that Kayla Hamilton and Rachel Morin were both killed in Hartford County, the county that you're the sheriff of. How does that happen?
Well, again, two women brutally murdered at the hands of illegal immigrants, people invited to this country by the prior presidential administration, and they took them up on it. They came and victimized our community, and there's nothing special about our county. That's happening across this country. But in our county, you hear about it because we're not going to let their lives be dismissed so, arrogantly, so insensitively, as we saw from Congresswoman Crockett.
And neither of who were random, both whose lives deeply mattered. Tammy, it is the House was debating the bill that you said, the Kayla Hamilton Act, when the Congresswoman made these comments. So tell us about that act, and maybe we could use this moment to promote it as opposed to what she was hoping to do with what she was saying.
Yes, so the Kayla Hamilton Act is they will check, do an extra check for any UIC that comes across the border from 12 to 17, see if they have any gang tattoos. They already get medical checks as it is, and all they're doing is just looking, real quick to see if they have any gang-related tattoos. And also they will be required to do a background check in their country that they came from. Because her murderer, he did have a criminal record in El Salvador in 2020 for illicit gang activity. And they did not check his background in El Salvador. They just checked his background in the United States and said that he had no crime. Well, of course not. He hasn't even been here yet. And also it will check the sponsors that they are giving these children to. Mm-hmm. They will check for their legal status, social security numbers, addresses, do full background checks on their sponsors. So we know who they're giving these children to. Not only we are protecting, our citizens, but we're also protecting the children against any, gang activity or any individual who's going to be caring for them.
Understood.
It's very important to protect the children.
To make sure that what happened to your daughter doesn't happen to anybody else. And it did just pass the House Judiciary Committee, so that's a good first step. Tammy, you brought a beautiful young woman into this world, and you are doing so much for her to be remembered, and she and you both made their mark. Certainly the opposite of random. Sheriff Jeff Gaylor, Tammy Nobles, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart.
Shut up, Steve, Brian, and Aaron. You see, the stories are all in front of you. And then when you look at it from a spiritual level, they're some of the greatest stories ever told. Some of the greatest narratives ever told are right there in front of you. A Christian young lady, autistic girl, essentially childlike in her manner, in her ways, probably most likely damaged by people like Bill Gates and Anthony Fauci, is brutally taken and murdered. And what springs out of that? What springs out of her mother's tears and her mother's sorrow and her father's tears and her father's sorrow and the community's tears and her neighbor's sorrow and her classmates' tears and sorrow? What springs out of that is a law to ensure that it does not happen to anyone again. And a disconnected politician said something out of her mouth, insensitive, that only draws more attention to the issue and only renders judgment on that politician's head further, the same politician who's already lost her district. And you don't think that's a story? That's not enough of a story for you? That is a magnificent story. There's tragedy there. There's triumph there. There's victory there. There's judgment in that story. It's all right there. But somebody wants to hear some creepypasta made up stuff about a slender man, about a flannel man, about a Bigfoot or a dog man, when it's all right there in front of you. You know, we did a Bible study this past Thursday night when we went through the principles of honor and dishonor and how they played out in news stories right in front of you. If you only understood, if people only knew, if only you knew how much I do love you. If only people knew that everything that you see happening right here, right now, started in an invisible space and happened right in front of you, then you would be fascinated with the stories that are right there. You would be addicted to watching the stories because you would be realizing that you are watching God at work, that he's not a disconnected God. He's not outside. He's not away. He's right there with you. And even when it don't look like it, even when something like an innocent, artistic young lady is brutally raped, his judgment is released. And she with him hanging out. She good. She ain't dead. She with him. That's why I told people about Charlie Kirk. It's like, I don't know. Charlie Kirk Charlie Kirk is hanging out with Jesus. He Gucci. But look at what his death wrought on this realm. Look at what it's done to the enemies of God in this realm. It wasn't a death, his murder, excuse me. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. His assassination and murder did. Yeah. That's all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want more.